Alright, well, we've done some moving stuff around here. We finally got the body off of the ceiling, so it's on the ground. We just pushed the chassis off to the side for the time being. What we're going to do here for today is we're going to get the body outside, we're going to get it washed, top and bottom, and then we're going to go ahead and get this paint stripped off so we can see what we're actually dealing with. So I guess that's all we have to do, so we're just going to move this outside and get washing. Okay, so we've got the car moved outside. We put it up on some sawhorses just to make it a little easier for us to wash it. For this, we're just going to be using simple green. We want to get all grease and oil and anything off of there. So what we'll end up doing here is we'll do a quick wash on the top side, make sure that's clean. We're going to flip it over, scrub the bottom side, make sure we've got all garbage off of the bottom end. And then we're just going to leave it sit in the, we'll move it out of the shade into the sun so it can dry. And then in a couple hours, we'll get it back in the garage and we'll start stripping some paint. So before we flip this over and look at the bottom side here, I thought I'd give you a quick close-up of the original color. So this is the original gel coat. Because it was covered all of its life, it hasn't faded. And you know, obviously when they painted it with this brushed on stuff, they just did it over what was visible. You know, so it's really not a bad looking color. We're not going to go back to this color, but figured I'd at least show you what it looked like when it was new. Alright, so car's all washed. We let it sit in the sun for a couple of hours just to make sure it was perfectly dry. And now really it's time to get going on the stripping. We've moved back into the garage. We want to make sure we're out of the wind, we're out of the sun. So what we've done here is we've laid some tarps down on the ground. I'm not going to try to save these, we're just going to pitch them when we're finished here. And now it's really just a matter of getting going. To do this job here, we're using the West Marine paint stripper. I picked this because it is safe for fiberglass, and I got it from my neighbor who just restored a boat and had a gallon left over, so why not? Safety equipment here, we will be using respirators just because the fumes that are coming off of this are not the best for you. We've changed into long sleeves and long pants. We want to make sure we keep all the stripper off our skin. We've got some gloves here. These are just the cheapo disposable household type gloves, but they're a little bit thicker than the regular blue nitrile gloves that we normally use. We should be all set to go. So really at this point, it's time to do a job I've been putting off for years. It's messy work, but it's got to get done, so let's get to it. Here we are. Things are moving along pretty good. According to the instructions, West Marine says we should just goop it on there. Well, goop it on there is my term, not their term. But they do want to see a nice thick coat covering everything, and then it's supposed to change color when it's done. So we're just gonna goop this all on here, and then the instructions say leave it sit for 2 to 4 hours until the paint starts to peel. Okay, so we got the stripper all put in place here. Did check a couple of spots. It does look like it's starting to soften, so that's a good sign. Whew, stuff stinks. So really at this point we're just going to let it sit for a couple hours just like the instructions say, and we'll come back and we'll start scrubbing things off and see what we end up with. I don't know if I used too much or not, but we went through the whole gallon to get to this point. That includes the body and the hood. Thank God that's all we have to do. But really at this point we're just going to leave it sit. We'll get the garage door open and get some ventilation in here, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so it's been a couple hours now, and looking at most of the stripper, it's actually turned white, which is the sign that we're ready to go. And even where it hasn't turned white, we're going to go ahead and scrape it off. We're actually out of time for tonight, and we can't really let it sit around. So we're just going to go ahead and get this all scraped off. So with a scraper, with our little scrub brush, and also a Scotch-Brite pad here, we're just going to go ahead and scrape all this off. If you take a look up close here you can see where everything is turned white, and now when I go and scrape on that, it pretty much takes all that old paint right off, and we're right down to the original gel coat. So I think we're in good shape. If we move over here where it's still kind of blue gel, it doesn't quite get all the paint off, but it's getting most of it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're just gonna scrape all this clean, and then we'll follow up with a little bit of the Scotch-Brite, which should take the rest of it. And then in some of these areas where it's real dry, we do have a spray bottle just to add a little water to help soften things up. So now we just scrape. Well, there we have it. The body is stripped. We got all this old latex type paint off. We ended up working well into the night last night just to make sure we got all the old paint off. We also did a pre-scrub with some Scotch-Brite and some soapy water. And then today we took it outside and we actually washed it proper. Again, scrubbing it with Scotch-Brite just to make sure we got off all the old paint stripper and any bits of old paint. There's a lot of work yet to be done here. A lot of scratches in the body. We found a lot of cracks in the fiberglass, but nothing that we're too worried about. On the next episode, what we're going to do here is we're actually going to try to get the hood fit on the car, and then make sure we've got the windshield frame straight, and we're going to get that cleaned and painted and then hopefully sent off to get some glass made for it. But I think that's probably going to do it for today. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. You just want to know when we get the next episode up. But thanks again. Take care.